Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch Collegiate Throwdown Gold Medal game. We have an action-packed game with Saints Gaming taking on DeSales, and a best of 5 is what we're watching tonight. So definitely we're in it for the long haul. The commentary for Daniel to save 1 mana, and if one Daniel wasn't good enough already, we got 2 Daniels. Daniel Danner's banner.
Doing well, and I'm excited to see this throwback, this run back here for DeSales and St. Clair, because we had seen them not too long ago, about a month ago. We had a scrim up against them, and St. Clair were able to take that, but it was a Game 5 reverse sweep situation. Yeah. So now they're here at the Collegiate Throwdown, gold medal game. It's going to be interesting, especially since some of the bands changed things up a little bit.
Yep, the birds are chirping in the middle of the map as well. The cars are going into the main city itself. I don't know the lore of this map, but it's all good because we are preparing to attack on this map in just a couple of seconds. Of course, St. Clair playing the basic double shield comp that they told us that they were going to play as well. They've got a little bit of damage over on the side with the May as well as Tracer.
You had made a comment beforehand that you wanted to see some dive. Well, looking at the sales, it's kind of leaning its way towards a bit of a dive composition with the Tracer, the Doomfist, and the Winston Diva. However, it looks like you're kind of getting some low health bars on the side of the sales to start things off. Sure trying to chase down Seymour, however, going to go up against everybody, just knocking everyone off there. That bunker composition is taken down. Some kills getting traded back and forth. St. Clair going to be the first ones to get control of this point. Jub living by an absolute thread. And it's finally a bit of a moment to breathe here.
Yeah, very close in the early game so far. St. Clair, they had their eyes on the point itself. So clear out the point and then converge off of it, whatever you need to, and maybe get a couple of extra casualties. And you can see that DeSales were not really together on that push. Some members were in the middle of the map itself, but they want to go for another contest. As you see one uppercut come out of Sin. Oh, he's not able to do anything just yet, though, as he is stunned up as well. Jub in the back line using his ultimate, and it definitely secures one Seymour with 2. Jub does go down at the end of the day, but the tanks, they got themselves all prepared with even a piece. You got to get a little bit more synergized and get onto the point if you want to try and take it to DeSales, because they're not going to be able to this time.
The fact too that St. Clair or Jub was able to get the pulse bomb right down onto the Moira instantly, that's all that AoE healing gone for the most part. And Lucio, his healing is pretty slow in comparison, so taking a hero right away was absolutely critical in that fight.
Definitely. And now with already 60% hitting the clock, St. Clair very confident in their ability, but they're all going to be knocked up and slammed down on the ground. However, we do have the Lucio ultimate that is going to be stalling it for the time being, but does it really even matter? Jub already getting 2 for himself. Prince Wada with 1. Yustin does end up going down, but it is only the support at the end of the day. But sometimes the support is needed in order to keep your team alive. It's why Prince Wada was, or did end up going down at the end of the fight itself. But St. Clair are holding this point very effectively, though, with Jub just blinking all around this point, just trying to take out all the casualties needed, and he's definitely doing so. Pulse bomb in the backline, not going to do any, I guess not going to get any kills, but does do a little bit of damage as well. Doomfist with his ultimate, not going to really do anything to St. Clair. Overtime has activated on the clock as well, as so much chase potential going off, and finally DeSales are able to take the point.
They got to be careful not to overextend here a little bit. The rest of the cavalry is here for St. Clair. And in that fight, it was pretty clutch. A nice ultimate from Plainbread to deny that initial engage by Seymour. As we see, Yustin leading the charge here with the rest of the Saints with that Coalescence. Finds a kill onto the Lucio. That's a pretty critical support down for the time being. Trying to see what else is popping here as Jub takes himself a double. That's the beat drop actually from Imp as well, even though there's not necessarily any ultimates being popped, exception of Spiked, just trying to stay alive here on this point, make this percent count, but he is going to go down. Jub and Crypt on an absolute killing spree. They're going to flip this over, and this should be game number 1.
Yeah,
round number 1.
Yeah, it was a very close one at that, but now it's just the last couple of casualties need to get off the point itself, as well as a lot of healing and a lot of stalling that needs to come out from St. Clair, as they're not able to do it just yet. You got the Chin Man playing the Tracer here on the point as well. But another Coalescence coming out just to heal the teammates a little bit more. But still, it's just racking up the KDs here, Danners, is all they're really doing at this point. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just basically agreeing to saying absolutely. Yeah. They're all kind of just trickling in at this point. The overtime ticker is finally going to get down. And Saints get themselves a bunch more kills to add to that KD, like you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, first part going to St. Clair.
Yep, very simple stuff coming through from St. Clair on a capture the point type of map. We're able to get it to 100% within the first minute or two of actual play. So definitely good stuff coming out of them. A really good synergy as well, as they were able to initially take the point in a very simple style. You just get onto the point itself, and you're able to just keep your sights on it, right? You don't want to go off onto the side and maybe try and pick anything too crazy. If you play as a team, you play it all towards the center of the map, then everything is just going to be fine. But we are heading to a quick pause.
Yeah, so one of the members on DeSales, apparently laptop kind of failing on him. So he's going to take a quick second to get that all rebooted. But in the meantime, so far, so good right now for St. Clair. Took that point pretty early on and only lost it for about one push. Only like 30 something or so percent that DeSales was able to even get on that. There was some good little piece from Brilliance from DeSales. I know I had pointed out the Lucio ult to stop Seymour's Flux from doing some crazy damage, like half your health. But it is, I guess, essentially the Lucio's job at that point to save that beat for that. And just so far so good overall for St. Clair.
Yeah.
I don't really think about it.
Yeah, very basic stuff, like I was saying earlier, coming out of St. Clair, where they're just playing to their own game. You know, they've been playing nonstop, no matter where they were, no matter if it was in the nest or even just at home. They are continuously grinding every single day, and they are just having their team synergy all up and all together. And you can see it within their play throughout this match in particular, how they're just all so together, and they know exactly what to use and when to use it. They don't waste any ultimates, and if an ultimate was wasted, it's very easy to come back from that small deficit.
Yeah, like to add on to the play that I was mentioning about earlier, like, okay, the Lucio popped the ult. Right. Now what? Crypt followed up. He had the Blizzard ready. It's like, okay, you can shield the initial ulti, but what about this one? And that was able to stall things out big time for St. Clair, to the point where they were able to get it to that overtime situation and eventually clean it up from there, forcing them to trickle in.
Yeah, so we have to wait just to see if these guys are going to be coming back anytime soon. But as we wait, we do have one more topic to talk about. We had the bans for this week, at least the hero bans that we need to talk about here for the week itself. Thank you so much, producer, for being ready. We've got Brigitte, Reinhardt, McCree, and Widowmaker all taken off of the board. And since Reinhardt is out of play, it means that you do have to go double shield. And we're seeing that out of St. Clair with Arisa as well as Sigma.
Yeah, it's like you either do double shield or you dive. And that's kind of like we're seeing so far here in this game, where we have the Winston Diva and then the Risa Sigma. And of course, our tank line, I know Seymour specifically, has had tons of games on to Sigma back when GOATS was a thing. So everyone basically is warming up the old compositions that they used to use for the most part. Right. Granted, yes, Ryan was a part of that too, but
there we go.
Some interesting bans kind of forcing the hand of our teams here today.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason why Widowmaker would be useful is if some players like a pocket Widowmaker main and just wants to play it for the lulz. You know, he doesn't really want to play it seriously. He just wants to play it very late into the match itself. But we are back into this match, ladies and gentlemen, as already the first casualty has gone down. Prince onto Reaper is the first one.
That's a pretty clean pickup. Of course, Reaper with these more close quarters fights are absolutely brutal. Nice wall cutting off the Sigma. Goes down, and St. Clair is going to be able to clean this up nice and quick here. And another early capture for St. Clair.
Yeah, St. Clair, very clean play coming out of themselves, as they know exactly what to run and how to run it. You can already thank Crypto for the stalling potential of the May. You use the wall at just the right moment in order to get his first pick of the actual point itself. So really good stuff coming out of St. Clair. Already 20% here on the point.
It's really brutal trying to go through that first initial choke against the May. That's a good stick. Almost got plain bread. barely hanging on by a thread. There's a hook on the Seymour. He's going to be able to get out of there just in time, thankfully. Jub being an absolute nuisance in the background there with that Tracer.
No.
He actually falls right to his death, apparently. Alrighty. But here comes the Coalescence alongside a beat drop and a bunch of other ultis just dropping on point, especially the freeze. And here comes the Flux from Seymour. Could have possibly finished off the tank of Roadhog. Take down the Lucio as well. Just one more shot away. And somehow, St. Clair are going to be able to turn that one around.
Yeah, it was weird because I believe it was Jub that ended up just falling off the map there early on, at least in the fight itself. And that was the go-ahead button for DeSales. They wanted to get onto the point as fast as possible. You saw, I believe it was, no, it wasn't the Lucio ultimate that got activated, but they wanted to get onto the point and they were able to do so. The only problem was that St. Clair, they had that extra line of defense. They didn't really need Jub in the hold itself. He was just kind of in the back line as a nuisance. So St. Clair still had their core all together.
All right, Bongo down alongside the Pulse Bomb. Imp is going to be the first casualty of this team fight. And we see the Mage jumping in with the Ice Block as well, just try and stall things out a little bit. There's a Blizzard from Crypt that's just setting everybody up. Jub gets a double, Wada gets a double, and there we go, Jub finds another one. Even though St. Clair seems to be the one getting engaged upon, they are just constantly defending it with this bunker comp, and they're going to be able to clean this one up nice and quick.
Yep.
And this is going to be 2-0. This is going to be Oasis going to St. Clair.
Yep, St. Clair already taking map number 1, ladies and gentlemen. That was super fast. St. Clair, you can see that their synergy is definitely coming together for sure, as well as the team play in general. Let's look at this. Let's look at the play of the game here. Jub, he was able to get a couple kills here.
Oh yeah, just get some frozen right up, and it's nice when they're all locked up like this. So Crypt's with the ultimate in the perfect position, just allowing for Jub and the rest of St. Clair just to tear it up.
This is what I give these credits to, at least these players, how they're able to track people just so easily. The way that the Tracer just stayed on that hero's head. I don't know. I sound like a complete noob right now, but I'm in Broaden, so I'm allowed to. But anyways, heading back into that final little bit. Once again, St. Clair, they were able to stay on that point, and whatever DeSales threw at them, they were able to respond with just an extra line of defense. Didn't even matter if they didn't have Jub. He was off the map. He was dead. He was suicided. Didn't really even matter because the rest of St. Clair was able just to stay on the site and completely defend it. Any last closing thoughts, Danners?
Either that was an absolute spaghetti moment for Jub or the perfect bait. Like, I don't know. Like, it was. I wish I could get a look at that to see what he just do if he just like yeeted himself off the side or something. But It would have been funny. And of course, with the dive comp or the pick comp that DeSales is running, the dive one in the first one and then the Roadhog pick comp for the second one, it really relies on being able to smoke a squishy and take them down like really quick in the team fight. And even though they got engaged upon over and over again, it seems like it was the proper order for St. Clair anyway. The damage was all hitting the tanks.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what you want. So the dive comp wasn't exactly working. The picks didn't exactly work. But we're going to get ready for game number 2. This is Nambani. Yep. And I'm looking forward to seeing what we see from these teams for this map specifically.
Yeah, if you guys have never watched this map in particular before, what you have to do first is capture a point. You have to get all 3 ticks onto a payload, and then once you do that, you got to reach 2 checkpoints, well, the second one being the final base, with the actual payload itself. You got to push the payload to its final destination. That's usually what the announcer says. I believe the announcer can actually explain it way better than me, but it's all good. I'm trying for you newer viewers. But
that's good.
Exactly. Thank you, Danners. But look at the comms here that both teams are running as we just look at the pregame itself. I know that a lot of teams will kind of debate the casters with not the final lock-ins, but let's just assume that there is 2 bastions. I know that on Numbani, teams do actually like to run bastions, so this would be nothing new.
Yeah, whether the bastion's up in the high ground, just spraying on everybody, or if it's a pirate ship combo, trying to push that cart. Yeah, bastion could definitely come into play, and we're going to see Xenosure with the Pharah with Capricius's Mercy to try and attack this point with a little bit of strong poke damage while St. Clair is all set up. And you can see they're up there on the high ground, and Sino's just going to do his best to try and poke this out. But going through 2 shields between their reset and the Sigma, that's going to take a while, to say the least. Yeah. They're going to try, but looks like that Jub on the Bastion is just able to blow through all the utility and actually wins the Bastion Ditto. So that's a huge portion of DeSales' DPS completely gone. And if there's anybody who can plow through a shield, it's a Bastion, as we see right here. Res the Bastion doesn't even care, takes them out again, why don't ya? And this push is basically halted for now.
It sounds like the start of a joke, Danners. 2 Bastions walk onto a point. What exactly happens afterwards? Well, you saw what happens. 1 Bastion is going to end up winning at the end of the day. With the point itself not actually going to be... or no progress being made by DeSales. I know that the main objective is to get onto the point itself. Sorry, I got distracted. I was like, Christmas? But the main objective for the attackers is to get onto that little ledge that we ended up seeing them go onto. It's just not really effective when you can't really get from there onto the point itself. So it's almost kind of like you're playing a game of war, where you're on 2 sides of the castles. I don't know. And they're just trying to shoot it at each other at the end of the day. But we'll see if DeSales can actually get onto the point itself. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, they're going to try and get sneaky here, but can Sinosure find the angle to fire off this barrage? And I don't think they're going to be able to. Even if they try to now, there's already 3 members of DeSales down and out. So they're going to have to retreat and try that again. But the shield placement from St. Clair is stopping any sort of sneaky barrage attempt.
Yep, they haven't moved whatsoever here, Danners. They're just staying here in the corner, and it's definitely working for themselves with the damage boost going down onto Jub on the Bastion, and his aim is just so incredibly clean. We saw it on the Tracer that he ended up playing very earlier on, and now we're seeing it here on Bastion. If you can position correctly, and if you can deal as much damage as possible correctly, it can be really good. However, Sino wants to get into the enemy team, but he's taken down to very low HP.
Oh my gosh, just popped out of the sky. Everyone just focusing her down. Rez taken down again, I believe, at this point. They're going to try and finally get onto the point. Some progress will get made, but not enough to actually earn a tick. Here comes Jub with the ult, blasts the far out of the sky, snipes out the Mercy as well. Huge plays for Jub, finding 2 huge picks. And they're just going to clean this up nice and quick.
Yeah, once again, the point not really being contested whatsoever, at least by DeSales, as they've only taken it to half of the first tick, and now it's going all the way back down. Resets back to default here on top of the point itself, as Jub is now setting up for himself. Still, St. Clair not really changing any of their gameplay up whatsoever, staying in this corner, and just the shields galore are being piled on into this corner.
It's absolutely brutal. I'm looking for DeSales to see what kind of move they can make. But regardless of what they do try to pull off, they're going to still have to deal with Imp, and the Valkyrie is available. So whether it be multiple damage boosts or multiple healing streams, they're going to be staying alive. And with Insanity going down extremely quick, the Bastion, who had the ulti, that is brutal. Farah sniped out of the sky. And this is just a clinic right now for St. Clair. The DeSales squad are going to be able to at least get the first tick. The first third of the point is taken. Yeah. So it's not a complete full hold, but it's pretty much looking like they're not going to make it past this point. And here comes Jub, just to put the cherry on top of the cupcake, so to speak.
Oh,
gets the kill too.
Jub just flexing on us now at that point. He's like, no, you don't want to show your face here on this site, but I have to be a non-biased caster here for just 1 second. I don't want to be, but I do see a couple of universities in the chat. So I have to be that non-biased caster and say that there is still that chance that DeSales comes back. I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. But we've seen it before in the past where teams will think, you know what, it's just 1 tick. It's just 1 tick. So it's so very easy to take. But there is that potential that DeSales comes out with a wall. We haven't seen that wall just yet. So we have to see if they're able to pull it out.
Ready for battle.
And I mean, yes, of course, we're through St. Clair College and whatnot, but I'm always personally here to try and see the best match
exactly,
possible. And I do have to remember back to the scrims that we did have versus DeSales. DeSales went up 2-0 in the set. Right. St. Clair made it back 3-0. Yeah. So even if this does happen to go up to a quick 2-0, like nothing is, like, it's not off the table by any means. But we get to see what happens now with DeSales on this defense. Of course, they, like you were mentioning, they got the first third of it. So they'll need a absolute perfect full hold, not impossible. But looking at the different composition that St. Clair's bringing, they're opting for an aggressive dive.
Thank you.
Compared to the bunker coming out from the last few times.
I said it earlier literally as a meme. I was like, can we see a Diva Winston, please, at some point during this match? And they have granted my wish. But so far, DeSales doing the exact same strat as St. Clair here for the first initial push. We just have to wait for any sort of picks, and it's not going to happen just yet as the boop off the ledge comes through as well. Sigma Farah grabbing herself a triple kill. That's Sinnoh for herself. Jub not able to do anything in the corner or really even on the map itself.
Starting this round up with an exclamation point, basically booping 3-4 players off the map apparently.
Yep.
Nicely done here from Sinosure, stopping that push dead.
Yeah. It's a Bastion. It's so hard when you face a double Bastion in the corner with the Farah just flying all around the point itself. But who says that St. Clair cannot come and push number 2 and close this one out? Nobody does. So they can definitely do so if given the right circumstances. But we have to wait for all of these flanks to go down. Already on the point is going to be Jub, but Seymour is behind the enemy team, just applying a lot of damage. No one knows that he's actually back here just yet. And now they're finally communicating it as Imp and Justin, both of the supports going down as the Jub just grab his first casualty here of the map itself, and also goes down to the Mercy. It's the Battle Mercy, ladies and gentlemen, and also rezzing his fellow Farah.
You love to see the Battle Mercy. Big shout out to Capricious for bringing that one out. But this is looking actually kind of rough here for St. Clair. Barely like modifying what DeSales tried to do in terms of just poking down at the bunker, but it's not working. Sinosure has an ultimate. Plain Bread is going to be right around the corner with one for himself to try and keep everybody alive and amplify damage. I think St. Clair's definitely behind here, and considering they haven't essentially got point touched at all, and these picks just to add on even more and more problems for St. Clair. It's so far so good for DeSales.
Yeah, I had to give that other perspective, Danners. I don't know if it was a caster curse or a caster blessing. I guess it depends on which team you guys are rooting for here in the chat. Maybe you'll let me know in a little bit. But we do have Sinnoh trying to chase cat and mouse, and finally the not the booper, I guess the fist to the face into the face of Justin, which is unfortunate.
That's actually a brutal stagger. Now that now that I really think about it, that's now so much stall. We have 3. We're gonna probably have 4 ultimates on deck here for DeSales by the time this next team fight gets underway. And all we have is, okay, we do see Crypt with the EMP. So that could be a game changer if the opposing team straight up can't ult. And it's extremely good for dealing with barriers, shields, and abilities and whatnot, but he needs to find the proper opportunity. He's gonna go for it.
Oh, he's got
in the middle. He's got everybody, and that's gonna allow St. Clair to open fire. Jub, Wada, all diving in. Sebastian can't even find his footing at this point. He's gonna try to finally with the vulnerability matrix on the ground. He's gonna find Wada, but I don't think him and the Mercy are gonna be able to hold on to this. He's gonna damn well fly, but it's going down. Because of course he did have to touch it, and the Jub is gonna finish it off. Just getting everybody as they slowly but surely start trickling in here. Although the cavalry might have arrived just in time, we do see Keyframe with the ultimate coming out. Sinosure spraying and praying with the ultimate, but Jub gonna shoot him out of the sky. This is still being contested. They're barely out of range. If there's nobody on point for the side of DeSales for like a split second, it is going to be the round. But it's actually looking brutal. We do have another ultimate coming in. Barrage gonna try and clean things up, but there is a Diva Bomb, but it's not.
No way.
St. Clair are going to be able to take game number 2. A very valiant defense there for DeSales. They held that thing for a very long time, but it's going to game number 3. St. Clair up 2-0.
That was very, very scary, and I'm glad that I gave that other perspective of not being biased, because if I said that St. Clair was going to wipe, I would have been made a fool. Because it took until overtime, basically, for St. Clair to finally get the point and finally capture it. So that was an extremely, extremely close match. But it was all really up to the, I forget that character's name now. The EMP.
Yeah, Sombra.
There you go, Sombra. you go in with Sombra. You use the I remember the ultimate name, but I didn't remember the character name. Usually,
she is basically EMP the character, because if you're picking Sombra, that's basically the only reason why you're picking it, and that was the big key factor, like you're saying, for that fight.
Yeah, TP'd into the fight or like through her. Say that again.
If you usually get even a couple of them,
yeah,
especially if it happens to be a barrier or something, that's usually enough.
Right.
Crypt's got everybody in that EMP. Nobody could ult. They had 4 on deck.
Yeah.
It could have, any of them could have changed the game. So locking them all down was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So that was a beautiful game to watch. And I know that you guys are at home are definitely entertained and getting super hyped. But we still have to give that other side here. DeSales can very easily come back. If you guys didn't know, then the little storyline that was created from this gold medal match is that DeSales and St. Clair played a couple of weeks ago in just a little scrim match. DeSales went up 2-0, and St. Clair was able to reverse sweep. And of course, all of St. Clair were super happy and talking about it for days. But now you have to look at that other side. DeSales, they still have their morale up, or at least you're assuming that they have their morale up. If they don't, then it could be very detrimental, because we're heading into map number 3. This could be sayonara, ladies and gentlemen. We're going on to Junkertown.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're going to keep this this escort map style going on here with Junkertown.
I love this map.
It is sick, and one of the main reasons I personally like it is we get to see a lot of pirate ships. For whatever reason, of all maps, this one just seems to click compared to other ones. But trying to see, it looks like St. Clair's, if they're attacking first, they're going that route, it looks like.
Right. And just to break this map down just a little bit for you guys that aren't really too familiar with Overwatch, or maybe this is one of your first times watching, or you actually haven't watched this map in general, is that they have 3 points of contention. Our beautiful observer Yeti was able to highlight all 3 of those sites for us, but it's basically a push the payload map to 2 checkpoints, and then finally to the last room where there is a finale, which is where we are right now on the map. So it's a push the payload to the end, and it's very basic. It's a basic type of map style. What Danners was talking about is a pirate ship comp. So we had the Bastion in the last game that was sitting in the corner as that turret that was spraying down on the ground, right? It was just doing so much damage. But usually now here on Junkertown, you're supposed to place the Bastion on top of the payload itself, place shields in front of the Bastion so that he can just rain terror on his opponent.
Exactly, and it is actually going to just be St. Clair on defense first. So they're just going to be bunkering it up once again, like we've seen in other games. And one thing they do like doing, and it looks like they're setting up for this. However, they did this versus them in the scrim too. So DeSales should know that this could possibly be a thing. And this is a spawn camp right off the start. They're going to bring someone in. They do wall it off and insta-popping the main tank. Spiked didn't have a chance to get out of there.
I want to call that cheese, but it's not. It's just a simple strat that you guys have to practice in ranked. But another orb comes out. This Orisa, Prince Wada, is just so on point with the right clicks.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. We do see DeSales finally just staying aside until all of them can just push out all at once, and it's what they need to do. However, Jub winning the Bastion Ditto again. However, the Bastion will be res. But this gets taken out once again. St. Clair tearing DeSales apart at the spawn point, and Crypt just in the front lines, freezing everybody as well. Eats a boulder for his troubles alongside more spray and pray from Jub on point, taking everybody down.
Definitely so incredibly clean coming out here from Jub as he's able to set up literally wherever. He doesn't even need a corner, doesn't even need a default spot. Just give him some open area as well as a shield, and he's able just to absolutely dominate. And it's exactly what he's doing right here. But this feels so incredibly bad if you're DeSales. They can't even get out of their spawn, Danners.
Absolutely brutal stuff coming out here from St. Clair. We do have the Blizzard available, but we do see Jub popping the tank for him as well. Crypt barely hanging on for his dear life, but this does let Jub try to get the flank. Does manage to trade Bastion for Bastion. So this is DeSales' best opportunity to do something, and they are looking like they're going to capitalize on it. They do get an additional 2 kills. Wada not giving up without a fight, however. that he is finally going to be going down. Xenosure going to pop the ultimate barrage right on top of Yustin just to confirm that kill, and finally they can get out of that spawn room and get this thing moving.
Exactly. Now with the push coming out of DeSales, finally they're able to crack the defenses of St. Clair. Up until this point, it's looked like the actual defense has been just so incredibly unstoppable. But now we're starting to see the cracks in the asphalt. Hopefully DeSales can continue to expose those cracks and maybe pull out their first W here on Junkertown. But I'm getting way too ahead of myself here because they need to take this first point before anything.
Yeah, Wada got smoked trying to put that bongo down. However, the rest of the St. Clair is going to be short to follow, but it's looking like a lot of kills coming over here on the side of DeSales. Crypt, one of the last ones alive, and a very good hold so far for DeSales, so they can continue to push this thing and get that first checkpoint.
Yeah, so they're able to get to the actual first checkpoint itself, which adds just a little bit of time on the clock. I believe it's 1:30 or 1:45, something like that. But they're able to add a little bit of time, and already the picks are going back and forth. You see that the Pharah has already taken out Imp. Cyro doing just the absolute best work here on the Pharah, and this is exactly how you mess up an enemy team. However, Chin has been taken very, very low with a dive from Jub, but he ends up going down. Usually when Jub kind of gets a little bit restless, he loves to go for these aggressive style picks. One of them was Widowmaker, and the other one is going to be Genji. But since Widow is out here this week, since she is banned, he's able to really come out on top. But a flank does come through. Yustin in the backline. Crypto wants to freeze up the point itself with the lift up coming through. DeSales looks like they're actually going to be defending this one. Baptiste with the immortality field is doing just so much work with Jub grabbing his first casualty on the point itself. He's looking for more. He's able to take out two. He's looking for more. He's looking for the actual res itself, but he's behind the Bastion at this point. Bastion not really knowing where he is, but does activate the ultimate himself. Jub now has to get out of sight of DeSales and has to reset.
And this is the brutal portion of St. Clair's composition. If they don't have the opportunity to actually set up their bunker in a decent spot, or yet set it up, period, it's very easy to just pick them off over and over again. Now that they're finally grouped up, they're going to try and push it together, but this is still not exactly optimal conditions for their composition, and DeSales is going to punish it completely. Jub going for this Genji pick is an absolute cocky move, in my opinion, as we see it get completely dumpstered on from the side of DeSales. The Capricious is just sitting there waiting for that to happen. Just try me. Pull out the Dragon Blade and just heal him through it. No big deal. And now we're going into the third section, our final portion for possibly point number 3.
Yeah, and when you are an aggressive player, you have to go for those cocky plays, right? You just have to get into the enemy team, see what you can find. Any casualties will be really, really good. From what we've been noticing, Crypto is a very passive DPS type of player, but hey, Jub, very in your face. But the first fight has started, at least here on checkpoint number 3, and it looks like St. Clair is backed up into a corner with Chin Sanity getting into the enemy backline and is able to take out 2. And now he has set up his post on top of the Maywall once again, set him up literally wherever, and he's able just to rain terror on his opponents. And while all of that was going on, another rain of terror was going on in the backline itself with Pharah, but he does end up going down.
Okay, so they managed to get that last second pick. That'll be a little bit critical if St. Clair decide to push. However, like I was saying before, their composition doesn't necessarily lend them to doing that as of this moment. So we'll have to see what they do for this brief moment of a 6-on-5. Xenosure sitting there ready with the barrage, and then 2 additional ultimates on DeSales ready to go. And we're almost have 5 on the side of St. Clair. We're going to see the barrage probably come out momentarily, try to bust them out. Surprisingly not going to be the case, and St. Clair so far going to be getting 3 kills on the board, making a 4th. And they're going to just plow through this, apparently. Yustin, I think, nano boosted onto Prince Wada, and that just like machine gunned them down.
And finally, the Baptiste going down at the end of the day, who just crouched on the point itself and said, kill me, please, at any point. But yeah, that was able to go down too. But DeSales have pushed the payload very far. The only problem with the push the payload type of map, an escort type of map, is that you have to get it all the way in order to be super effective. Right clicks coming out from Crypto as well as the res. Is he able to counter that though? Not just yet, as the Mercy is now by her side as well. Jub does go down.
Well, Ice was always super effective against flying types, and Crypt just on an absolute tear taking that fair out of the sky. That is not an easy projectile to hit. Now that engage happening, Seymour going to get the other Sigma, and Crypt is right there in the front line. He's just going to try and be an absolute thorn in the side of the DeSales squad. Blizzard going to come out, so if they even try to think about pushing this cart, they are going to be absolutely toast. And that is a lot of casualties on the side of DeSales. We have 2 down at the moment. Xenosure almost going down, but Capricious right there for him. Yeston, the only casualty right now for St. Clair, trying to hustle his way back here. But with a bit of an extended fight, but I think DeSales might be running out of steam.
Yeah, it looks like very, very slowly St. Clair are now starting to get the kills that they need in order to close out this point, and finally they're able to defend it as well. Jub, though, is getting into enemy lines and wanted to rotate. How many
times do we see this?
Wanted to rotate into kind of a secret corridor, but now the final defensive line has to come out from St. Clair. But look at the enemy ultimates. You only have the Mercy ult as well. Spike almost has his. They have to start charging his up because they only have 15 seconds, Danners.
Oh, and once again, Crypt finding Xenosure. We've got the boost. Are we going to see the visor on top of that? Yes, we are. It's going to be open season right now for Jub to just melt away everybody. There goes the Bastion. It's really easy to hit a flying character when you have an aimbot basically as your ultimate, and it's going to push everybody back. Overtime is currently underway. They have to touch the carts, however, everyone is just getting mowed down. We see Capricious try to battle it out. Respect for that, but this last second ultimate from Insanity and Keyframe is going to either make or break this push. Emergency Hammond is on the way. Seymour's ultimates missed the mark, I think, just ever so slightly. This could actually swing the fight away. Kills are so far in St. Clair's favor. However, they're still trying their damnedest to push us forward. Sigma barely living, somehow juking them, but finally taken down by Seymour. Xenosure does manage to get a barrage kill onto Crypt, so a little bit of a revenge kill right there.
Seymour!
Send a boulder at the person in the sky. Might have actually got that too. That was actually huge. Overtime still ticking down, still dealing with 3 members of DeSales. The Kamehameha coming out from Moira going to take the kill from him. And they're slowly but surely taking us back. Emergency Hammond's back here again. Jub got another ultimate, and this fight just won't stop. Finally, there's a chance of this ending. Jub going to find another one. It's the rocket kill onto Capricious, who switched over to the Lucio. And this one is finally just getting to the point where it's just trickling in.
They're just going and going. And Danners, just take a break, man. It's okay, man. I feel your pain. That was a minute-long team fight, and you were going. Oh my goodness.
I love it though.
It was so long that Jub was able to get his ultimate twice. But you gotta give Jub, whenever we watch Jub, watch his tracking. This dude is able to stick onto players just so well. I love it. But Seymour, in that last fight, was holding it just non-stop. He was on it and did not die whatsoever. Was able to absorb so much damage. The boulders that were coming out, you saw him flick onto a Lucio that was right above him and was just able to defend that point so well. Of course, his DPS were there to also help him, but hey, when you're playing a shield character, you gotta just pull out all of the different cards, and they were definitely able to do so. But the one point I was touching on earlier here is that when you're playing an escort type of map, you have to get the payload as far as possible, and it feels super good when you're going out to defense and the actual payload itself is in the enemy base when it's finally at the final checkpoint and just secured all the way. The only problem is that the DeSales weren't able to do that. They were able to get it just halfway through that 3rd checkpoint. So now St. Clair has that possibility. If they are able to play that 3rd point super effectively, they are able to get through that 3rd point just flawlessly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like from DeSales right now, I feel like a little bit comfortable, but not like too comfy, so to speak. Like they're breathing a little easy, but still a little bit nervous. And that's actually a huge pick right off the start. Plainbread taking down Jub. So it's going to be a lot of DPS gone unless the res does get off from him. And it looks like it is finally going to be able to do so. Nice little shot there from Jub. And this card's going to get moving real quick.
Yep. You do see the Pharaoh res has gone down on the top of the roof itself, and as well, you have a Sigma on the right-hand side. Try and get that Mercy out of there is your main job, but Jub with the flank with the Bastion as well. He wants to try and take out this Orisa, and he's going to be able to do so if my prediction is correct, and it is not. Unfortunate. Jub does go down, but the point itself is about to actually reach the final checkpoint, or the first checkpoint itself, and it does. The door is going to be opened up. Crypto as well now with a double for himself. A flick with the right click onto Lucio. That was so clean. But they have to get past this point very fast, right? They were able to actually beat out DeSales time with the first push to the first checkpoint.
Yeah, but when DeSales came through this, I think we were at like the 3-minute 30-second mark when they got that first checkpoint. And now, looking at the composition, they might be switching over to this Sombra. It's really hard to try and commentate when you're listening to Jingle Bells by a
so hard! I was gonna say that! I thought I was the only one. You're listening to Jingle Bells and you can't, man! But it's going to be Jub here on the point. Immortality Field has gone down. Prince Wada here with the first one. Justin, his little, I don't know what that is, has gone down here for the time being. Crypto now with the second kill, but you do have the first casualty going down. Going to res Jub on the right-hand side. Another res going to come out as well now onto Cyro as he is in the air. Jub though with the flick into the air itself, and now has gotten down onto the floor. A triple kill going down for Jub as they are now able to take the second checkpoint by 4 minutes. It's going to add so much time here, and a very simple St. Clair strat. You got St. Clair here, DeSales, as there is the May wall to block the entrance.
All right, so now if I'm DeSales, I'm panicking. Like, this is brutal. Like, getting to the third point over halfway is fantastic if you can kill some time in the other 2 points. And it's been completely bowled over in these first 2 sections. It's 5 minutes and 20 seconds for St. Clair to just make it around that corner. That's not very much. However, a good start from Xenosure, switching over to the Hanzo and finding the headshot. It's going to force the res to come out early, and in fact, Imp is going to get caught in the flux from DeSales Sigma, and it's going to just completely swing this fight into their favor. And St. Clair, they have a lot of time, thankfully, but they're going to end up retreating in this case.
Yeah, Jub now with 2 on one of the sides here of this map, but Crypto is still alive, and DeSales has to realize that, but Prince Wada is being that meat shield that his team needs, and now the payload is going to be pushed even further, but the May wall comes out! You got St. Clair. I'm making that a thing here, Danners, but with a double kill coming down onto Mercy as well as Orisa, and more kills. Jub with the fist. Didn't even need the gun at this point. But the point is going to be pushed. This could be it here with the final push. The Blizzard could come out, but Seymour now coming down with 2. Blizzard has gone down. Jub onto the field itself now with 1. The payload finally being pushed to its final place with the tank. That's going to be Hammond trying to knock up whatever he can, but St. Clair with a clean 3-0 over DeSales.
Holy smokes, all hands on deck. If you have an alt, pop it, just fire away, and St. Clair College are going to be your winners of the Collegiate Throwdown here for Overwatch in very decisive fashion. It's crazy the difference a couple weeks can make.
Yep.
But of course, play of the game for this one going over to P-Frame. Solid stuff. Just that was a pretty good job on their attack, just tearing everybody apart.
Yeah.
But still, for St. Clair, that one, a couple weeks makes a huge difference. My goodness.
Yeah, I can't wait for all of you people in the chat to react to this one, because we are on a 5-minute delay. But this was so much fun to cast. I see all of you beautiful people in the chat, so thank you all for tuning in to the last 3 games. But let's analyze that series as a whole really quickly. Map number 1, super clean out of St. Clair. A 2-0 very quickly on a capture the point style map.
Yeah, and that one was just, the dive didn't work for the most part. For the first initial point, I think it was okay, but then when it switched over to the second point, the May wall was just cutting it in half. The dive was going onto the tanks, if anything, which was just out healing everything. Healers were doing their job. Support was on point. And that one just did not work. And then game number 2, we had Nambani, a relatively similar team compositions from both ends. However, just St. Clair switched it up with the Sombra.
Yeah.
And that huge 6-player EMP, while there was 4 ultimates on deck, was a huge game changer. And do you have any thoughts for game number 3?
Yeah, Seymour, you can't spoil.
Seymour.
It's gonna be Colin comes in the chat and says GG while it's halftime. This guy. Anyways, we're on a 5-minute delay here, Colin. But yeah, map number 3, like you were telling me, it was close. It was the closest one that we've seen yet. And Junkertown is by far my favorite map to watch because all 3 points are so different. The first one is much more out of the open, right? You have to try and react to a Pharah that can just fly up in the air. Sky's the limit, right? The second choke is really hard to hold. Usually a lot of teams will fall on that, at least on defense, and they'll just kind of retreat to the third one. But once you get to the third one, it's really hard to turn around the corner. I don't know. I feel like Overwatch pros can explain this way better than I can. But the initial the turn itself, it's really hard to get around that choke, and that is where DeSales failed. But it's where St. Clair were able to come out on top.
Absolutely. And then, again, just throwing it back to the team comp. So all of the stuff it seemed like DeSales was doing was, well, of course, if it's dive or pick related, it can be rather high risk, high reward. Meanwhile, if you're playing something more towards bunker, it's like, okay, it might take a little bit longer to get eliminations. However, there's less chance of you just losing your life just like that. So a little bit less risky, a little bit less rewarding, but it's consistent. And consistency was definitely what we saw from St. Clair here today, with the 3-0, of course, being the case versus DeSales.
Yeah, so I hope that match was fun to watch for all of you lovely people at home. For us, it was awesome to cast. But from over here at home, at our homes, we're doing a remote broadcast. I just want to say a very quick thank you to Baker for providing us with the feed itself so that we were actually able to cast this whole match. Thank you, Yeti, for your beautiful observing as well as your early game cinematics. Those were all really cool. Thank you, Danners, Mr. Danners, for joining me here on the cast itself. It was so much fun to cast it with you. Any final words from you?
Oh, it was my pleasure, and I just enjoyed it as well. It was good to get back onto the commentator's desk, especially for a game of Overwatch. And thankfully, here for Saints Gaming, give us another week or so, but a couple of leagues for NACE are coming up with some more tournaments. So we're going to still have some additional content. We may be playing things remotely, casting remotely, but we finally do have a bunch of content underway. And I just want to also thank you, Daniel, for coming in and commentating. It was absolutely enjoyable. Thank you again.
This was so much fun to cast. Overwatch is always a cluster mess to cast, but it's so much fun to watch. So thank you all for tuning in to the stream. Keep updated from St. Clair as we have so much stuff coming to the channel itself. But for myself, Daniel, the Save One Meta, this has been the Overwatch Gold Medal match. Hope to see you guys next time.